Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Dad and Buried podcast, or welcome for the first time. My name is Mike, aka Dad and Buried. You've probably come across me on social media before, let's be honest, and my friend Pete, who you've probably never come across, and even if you did, you wouldn't remember him very much.
That's right, because remember that in 2007, when everyone was going Facebook crazy, here's one guy who said, fuck that, and decided to get off social media altogether,
He did it.
except for one time.
Podcast. What about the
Yeah.
podcast?
No, that brought me back in, and I'm super, super into
Like Al
it.
Pacino brought you back in. Well, speaking of bringing Dad and Buried podcast. This episode, we're going to be talking about role models. Did you have any role models growing up, Pete?
I think it's pretty safe to say I didn't, Mike.
No? Yeah. And look where you've ended up.
Yeah, look at me. Just at the bottom of the barrel.
Well, you lived in England.
Podcast.
You lived in England as a child, and there's just not too many special people to look up to there, are there?
That is true. That is
just
true.
the royalty, if you want. Do people look up to the royalty to kids? Kids like Princess Diana.
Do you know that actually Diana Spencer was my kindergarten teacher in England when I grew up?
Are you telling me the truth? Is this breaking news?
It's a true fact, my friend.
This is before she got married.
This is before, so she was Diana Spencer, and I went to a school called Young England, and it's there's actually a Hulu. I think if there's like a documentary on Hulu or whatever.
Hold on.
Anyway,
you had a shot at Princess Diana when she was single, and you blew it.
I completely blew it. I actually remember when so Prince Charles came to visit us.
Yeah, you remember his years?
No, I distinctly remember it interrupted what was tea time. Essentially, it's not actual tea. It's just like sort of orange juice and biscuits.
They didn't give tea to the children in kindergarten.
I was so bullshit about. I was like, what the fuck? Is anyone? I mean, like, come on.
He was cutting into your teeth.
Yeah, he was cutting into my Orange Robinsons and biscuits. And
what Orange Robinsons?
So you can look that up. It's a drink.
I'm not going to look it up.
It's really hard to describe, but it's also kind of gross. So it's
like growing up in England, little kids have Orange Robinson. They would
yeah, and Ribena, Robinsons and Ribena. It's like this drink that you put water into to like it's concentrate. It's really it's a whole thing.
I like the sound of it.
But I will say this. She was the I have like one memory of her playing King of the Castle. Guess who was the king?
Her.
This guy.
Well, would have made more sense if it was she, because she was the one. If it was her, because she was the royalty and not you.
She was
actually the podcast.
We actually got everyone in the little school. It's a little school. It's a tiny little school.
How has this never come up? We've known each other for like 15 years. You were never like, I hung out with Princess Diana.
Yeah, I think that's probably because there was never that awkward pause in our conversations. You know what I mean?
I find that impossible.
We will just flow, you and I together, like those two blue beings from Avatar. Our braids would just kind of interlock.
I love Avatar. No one wants to hear about Avatar.
Listen, people need to hear about it because there's 9 more coming, and they're coming soon. So let's get our minds set to Avatar. Do you understand?
They're going to be underwater and stuff. So I wanted to mention, so Princess Diana was a celebrity, not when you were in her class, but a celebrity and a teacher at some point, right? And she went on to do like very noble humanitarian things.
She was literally a teacher for like 2 years and taught at my school. That was it. And then she met,
she met Prince Charles. Yeah. So when I think back at my role models, and I guess there's a little bit of difference between like role models or like idols, right? Like people you look up to, but don't necessarily want to be like. But I guess it's kind of a fine line. But the ones like when I was a kid, like I want to be like Dan Marino, right? Or like that kind of thing. But then when I got a little bit older, my role models were like, not so much role models, but just like mentors or people who made an impact on my life. And there's sort of a mix of this, right? But like I remember Mrs. Delvecchio, my English teacher in high school. I guess I would maybe consider her a role model. I had a 5th grade teacher who treated all the kids kind of like equally and like adults. You could have real conversations, that kind of thing. And I wondered if you had any teachers besides Princess Diana that kind of helped impact and mold who you are today. I remember my freshman year in college, one of my first days in my history class, after the class, I went up to the teacher and I like said some bullshit kiss-ass things. I didn't know how college worked or the fact or what I was doing. And I made a fool of myself. She's like, what's this? This isn't a paper chase. What is this kid doing?
She said that to you?
No.
In the third person?
She'd never seen The Paper Chase with John Houseman.
Oh my God. Did she call the authorities? Were you in her apartment? I mean, what was happening in the story? Jesus.
It was the beginning of like
and then I didn't know I don't know what's happening. And then I threw up in my hands and I offered it to her. Come on, man.
Some freshman survey course where like it's like the most generic thing ever. It's not like my major. There's nothing. And I just went up to her like some kiss-ass freshman, and she was very confused, especially when I mentioned the 70s law school movie, which I didn't do.
You went up to her? Like, was this like, hey, like, what do you?
I went up to her, I was like, yo, can I get your digits? No, I went up to her, I was like, hey, I'm very excited to be in your class. And
she just was like, this
who the fuck is this clown? Yeah.
Oh, all right. So Mr. Dolan definitely was in my primary school that I went to. He was the best.
Yeah.
He was an English teacher, and so shout out.
Mrs. Delvecchio was an English teacher, yeah.
And then let's see. There's been some other Mr. Otterpole, my high school teacher.
What was his name?
Otterpole.
Awesome. I like it.
Yeah. Guess what? Guess what? He was honestly no joke. All right. I'm not. He was transfixed. This was in 93, 92, 93.
You're dating yourself.
Yeah. I've been dating myself for a long time, actually, and I now have 3 children. So he was totally transfixed that there was going to be a race war. I swear to God.
Oh my God. Was your teacher Charles Manson?
I don't know. No, I don't think so.
Coming.
No, but it was really weird because he was anyway. That was a really weird thing. He was very sort of intelligent and had like a good worldview, but I mean, it was just weird.
If only he could see America now.
And that's what's funny. I actually thought about him like, whatever, pick a week ago. I mean, Jesus Christ, this whole time it's been a horrible name. Anyway.
So I had a history teacher. I had a social studies teacher, 7th grade, Mr. Pollen, maybe, who everyone thought was really cool. He pitted out every class, but he used to say questions, comments, dirty jokes, and everyone thought he was like really funny. And he had a mustache. He seemed like 50, but I'm sure when I was like 12 or 13, he was actually like 28. Yeah. He got fired for banging the substitute band teacher in the band room, I think during summer school or something. Yeah.
Whoa, hold on a second. Pitted out with a mustache? Yeah. Come on, ladies. Very 80s, leave a little in the tank, Mr. Whatever your name is. Jeez.
Mr.
Pollen, come on. Come on, give the ladies a fighting chance with your pitted out mustache and your ability to bang.
Anyway, I did have some impactful teachers over the years, and so did Ruby_Lowbrow, who said her art history professor, Dr. Stratford, was her role model. I still want to be her when I grow up. She was brilliant, classy, and taught us about the ugly parts of life that make it beautiful. This sounds literally like a movie. I went to a small Christian liberal arts college, and she was hell-bent on us disobeying rules and living full, ugly, beautiful lives. This is literally the plot to Dead Poet Society. I'm not sure anybody should be a role model. This is what I wanted to get into with her. I'm sure Dr. Stratford was great. I'm not sure anybody should be a role model in all aspects of their lives. We're all human. We all suck in one way or another. But the people who inspire you to be a better version of yourself are pretty special. So I thought the part where she said, and this is the flaw, right, that kids have before their innocence is shattered, right? You look up to somebody like Mickey Mantle or Ken Griffey Jr. or Tiger Woods, right? And then eventually you find out that this person has
that neither of them can play ice hockey. That their ice hockey abilities are just awful because you've been focused on the wrong sport the whole time.
What are you talking about? Willie Loman kind of stuff.
Okay.
Anyway, so like there's even been like TV shows about it where like don't meet your idols, right? Where like Mike Seaver goes to a concert and he meets his like favorite singer and the singer treats him like shit because he's like drunk backstage. Yeah, get the fuck out of here, kid. You're a piece of shit. That kind of stuff. And the illusion is
that was shattered. On Growing Pains?
That was an episode of Growing Pains. Maybe not quite that language. But I think maybe it was Ben too who went to the concert. The illusion is shattered, right? Your naivete is broken. And nowadays, I don't think people have that illusion anymore. Whether it's because of social media and more access and less privacy and all that stuff. I don't think anybody really looks at athletes too much as like gold standards.
What the hell are you talking about? Are you living in the same sort of time and place that I'm living? Yeah, what you have with Instagram model and these like horrible like, oh, this is my life. You just described when you went on your influencer vacation.
But that's true. I'm an influencer, not a role model.
Yeah.
I'm like Charles Barkley. I'm not a role model. I do want to say real quick before we get back into some of the list, we forgot to do our whole. You can listen to us on iPhone, iTunes, and Spotify, and give us a review on Apple, and throw us some cash on Patreon if you want. We're going to run through our list of people. Ryan Miller, MS Babayan, give us money through Anchor. Check Your Kids at the Door, Chris Coleman, M. Cedeno, Mallory McKenzie, Tina Davis, and Miriam on Patreon, along with Rob Gilberry, who's still only a couple of weeks old. Thank you, Rob. Lindsay Woodruff, Andrea Sandoval, Barbara Gagger, Bill D'Amica, Dana Bosday, Jacques Govar, Morning Glow, Cotton Farmer AZ, Wes Clark, Jennifer Wynn, Julie McCarthy, Paula Polsky, Mary Williams, and Julie Burton. And I just brought up Mahomes because I think right now Mahomes is one of the few athletes who seems very wholesome, is doing very well. There's no scandals or anything yet. And I think that's rare for athletes these days. Now, what you were saying is, I was trying to be like, people aren't that naive anymore that they would look up to people like this. But you're saying now they look up to Instagram celebrities.
They look up to everybody. Everyone's like, oh my gosh, that person's so amazing.
Looking up to. That's
it's aspiration.
Like envy. It's like aspirational, yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's what it is, right?
Material stuff in almost every case.
No. I mean, look, aspiration is aspiration. It's I aspire to be a star at this, or I aspire to live my life in this way and be this organized, or be this look this way, or whatever it might be.
I aspired to bang the substitute band teacher, but
I mean, look, Mr. Pollan's got that locked. He's just got it locked. He's just got it locked.
I should look him up. Maybe they're still together.
Maybe he was just like, hey, baby, band room, if you know what I mean.
I remember her name too, but I don't want to create a whole scandal. Once the news gets a hold of this, the database.
Well, we are joking about something that is probably pretty traumatic, but at the same time, Mr. Pollan really had it locked down with those. He was an adult.
It was consensual.
Yeah.
He wasn't underage. What are we talking about? Why
Mr. Pollan? I don't know.
We could be talking about Princess Diana, but instead we're talking about fitted out mustache.
Well, because everybody knows about Princess Diana. Not a lot of people know about Mr. Pollan and his abilities.
That's going to change.
To close. But I want to get back to what Ruby Lowbrow was saying.
I don't know why you would still be watching This Isn't a Marvel movie, no matter how much I look like Paul Rudd, which you can deny it all you want. It's there in the eyes, I think. I'm young looking like him. If you enjoyed the podcast, which you obviously did or you wouldn't be listening still, sign up on iTunes, Spotify, wherever you want to listen to. Comment here on YouTube, subscribe, hit that like button. We want to hear from you. Comments, questions, dirty jokes, money, all the money you can give us. We'd love it all. Catch you next time.